and he has extended a deadline for reopening the Strait of Hormuz until April 6th. Austria's governing coalition has announced plans to ban social media use for children under 18, joining a string of other countries in drawing up such restrictions. This is SRN News.
These are uncertain times. Ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and beyond continue to shake global markets, driving up energy costs and creating widespread volatility. Gold has responded as history shows it does, climbing to new highs as a proven safe haven against inflation and unrest. Silver follows strong, offering even more protection for diversified portfolios. Call True Gold Republic at 800-300-GOLD for your free guide on protecting your retirement. If you're 55 or older, approaching or enjoying retirement, and have significant savings, you understand why stability matters now more than ever. Paper assets can vanish in a crisis, but precious metals have endured for generations. True Gold Republic helps Americans like you protect what you've built with real gold and silver IRAs. Call 800-300-GOLD for your free wealth protection guide today. No obligation, just information. Consult your tax professional before investing. Call 800-300-4653. That's 800-300-GOLD.
We've been serving ag families for generations because we believe farming isn't just a job, it's a legacy. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your operation, F&B Bank has flexible lending solutions designed for you. This is Loan Officer Kennedy Frank at F&B Bank. We're proud to be your hometown ag lender, member FDIC.
The days are getting longer, the roads are calling, and it's a great time to upgrade your ride at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 36 months on a 2026 GMC Terrain, the perfect SUV for wherever the road takes you. Need a truck? Take advantage of up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 with eligible trade-in. And for serious capability, get $500 bonus cash on a new 2026 GMC 3500. See the full lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or online at hurlchev.com.
Today, skies will become mostly sunny and northwest winds will lighten to 5 to 15 miles per hour. It will be noticeably cooler in the mid-50s under sunny skies. Tonight will be clear. Winds will turn to the south, become breezy, with lows in the lower 30s. Tomorrow will be windy and warmer, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-70s. South winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusting to 45. Fire weather conditions will be elevated, and a fire weather watch is in place across the entire region. Lows will be in the mid-40s. West-northwesterly winds off the Rockies, with warm highs in the mid to upper 80s. Winds will generally be less than 20 miles per hour, likely keeping fire weather conditions below criteria. Lows again will be in the mid-40s. Monday will still be warm in the 80s with gusty west winds 20 to 40 miles per hour. This meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
The days are getting longer, the roads are calling, and it's a great time to upgrade your ride at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 36 months on a 2026 GMC Terrain, the perfect SUV for wherever the road takes you. Need a truck? Take advantage of up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 with eligible trade-in. And for serious capability, get $500 bonus cash on a new 2026 GMC 3500. See the full lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or online at hurlchev.com.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They even have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
When fraud strikes, every second counts. At FNB Bank, we take your security seriously. Our local team monitors for suspicious activity and responds fast, so small issues don't turn into bigger problems. I'm Jessica Von Little at FNB Bank. We are your first line of defense, protecting you, your money, and your peace of mind. FNB Bank, local, trusted, here for you. Member FDIC.
The days are getting longer, the roads are calling, and it's a great time to upgrade your ride at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 36 months on a 2026 GMC Terrain, the perfect SUV for wherever the road takes you. Need a truck? Take advantage of up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 with eligible trade-in. And for serious capability, get $500 bonus cash on a new 2026 GMC 3500. See the full lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or online at hurlchev.com.
You ready?
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
There is a benefit to building a team and keeping it together for the length of time, but that does not happen anymore because of the portal and NIL and money.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
It's gone! Watch it fly! Jack Caglione, his first big league home run!
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, and the Insurance Agency.
Let's go to work. Between the circles, Smith working against Weaver, dribbles right, puts up a runner right of the lane, banks it off, tip by Kaufman. Red is good! 0.7 to go! 79-77 Purdue. Inbound right side poke, three-quarter court at the horn is no good, and Purdue wins.
This when he hits once again down the third baseline, and it's going to slice fair and then run into the corner, just like it did in game one. It's going to result in an RBI. Sliding into second is Williams. It's an RBI double, and the Cowboys get a run back. They're down 8-3 here in the fifth.
And Net will do it here in Houston. Ben McCollum and Iowa's magical season will continue. The Hawkeyes dancing to the Elite Eight. The Wildcats will dribble it out. And for the first time since 2015, the Arizona Wildcats are back in the Elite Eight. Arizona 109, Arkansas 88.
Happy Friday morning, everybody. Welcome inside the Morning Blitz on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, KLOE, NWKSradio.net, as well as the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Thank you so much for joining us here on this March the 27th, a certainly different start to the day than the last couple of days. Much cooler, 31 and overcast outside the KLOE studios here in Goodland, working our way to a high of 53. Don't worry, though, warmer temperatures coming up this weekend, but going to still be quite blustery. Wind gusts up to 45 on Saturday, and some northwest winds coming up on Sunday, maybe not as potent as the ones coming up here on Saturday and tonight. They will be a little gusty today, at least in the morning, gusts up to around 30. But hope everyone's doing well on this Friday, ready to get into another weekend ahead. I'm planning on getting into some yard work if I can. I got to get a few things done in the yard. So I did a little bit of it, I think, a couple nights ago. I think it was Wednesday night when it was really nice weather, and I'm going to try and dig into that a little bit more here this week and get a few things done. I still feel like it's early for doing that kind of stuff. It's still March. Usually don't like to kind of get into that until April time, somewhere in there. But hey, the way the weather is and the temperature is, and I was kind of looking even at the extended forecast. I mean, looking ahead to middle of next week, there's a slight chance of some precipitation, including some snow showers on Wednesday and maybe even into Wednesday night of next week. Now, once again, that's a ways out in my eyes. And that, to me, that means that we probably will have nothing happen. But it is something to keep in mind. I still believe if we're talking weather, we're going to have some sort of snowfall somewhere before this spring ends. I still think we're going to have at least one minor bit of the white stuff show up somewhere. Anyway, on today's program, we've got plenty to get to. Good friend Dan Lucero is going to join the program today. We'll be visiting with him about Major League Baseball, as it is opening day today for the Royals and the Rockies. It was opening day yesterday officially, but there are a few teams that did not play yesterday, including the Royals and the Rockies, and we'll talk some baseball. We'll talk some other things with Dan Lucero, our good friend from WIBW Sports. We will get into segment 3, a loaded weekend of baseball, not only the Royals and the Rockies, but Colby Community College and other collegiate baseball teams on the diamond here this weekend. It should have some, like I said, decent weather to play here this weekend. So a lot of baseball talk coming up in segment 3. We will get to some Sweet 16 recaps, including my thoughts on Iowa ending Nebraska's season here in just a matter of moments in segment 1. But we will dive into some thoughts on Colby baseball, rolling Goodland in the season opener to get things going here in just a matter of moments. If you want to hit us up on the FB Bank text line at 785-899-2222, you're welcome to do so today and get your thoughts, your comments, opinions, questions, whatever it may be. Drop them in on the F&B Bank text line. 785-899-2222 is the number to be a part of the show. So yesterday in baseball, Colby and Goodland squared off for the season opening series for both teams over here at Centennial Park in Goodland. I was on the radio call right here on Rocket 102.5 and got to see a couple of lopsided victories for the Colby Eagles. And I kind of, and this is no offense to Goodland or anybody, I just kind of thought that might be the way that it goes. Colby, I think, just has a distinct advantage of getting more repetitions, whether it be particularly in the batting cage with the facility that they have over there at the Blue Barn. And so when they come over here, they are prepared. Visiting with Coach Avalar for Goodland pregame, and he's been inside that program for the last couple of years, helping out as an assistant. They have a lot of kids that do baseball kind of as their main sport, and they work on it year round. And so it's always a tough draw, I think, particularly from the Goodland perspective, to play Colby right out of the gate, just because Colby is so well prepared. And Goodland this year is so young with 6 freshmen and not a lot of depth overall with just 11 total guys. And you saw what happens when that kind of happens. Colby won game 1, 25-1 in 4 innings. Braxton Withington looked really good, went out there, struck out 9 in his work, and Coben Curry did a little bit of relief. Braxton Withington struck out 9, did a really good job there. And I think it was Coben Curry that came in a little bit of relief there in game number 1. Withington just threw the complete 4 innings. 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, a walk, and a strikeout. And Goodland, got an okay start from Caleb Williams. 3 innings with 3 runs earned, 12 runs, but only 3 of them earned with 9 hits. And then Chris Glass came in and struggled with command, walking 8. And so I always say when you're playing in baseball, and particularly at this level, if you want to simplify things as much as you possibly can, you got to be able to go throw strikes as a pitching staff, and you got to be able to put the ball in play offensively. And yesterday was a tough day for Goodland doing that. Colby didn't hit the ball maybe as good as they have in previous seasons. I don't know if they hit the ball with as much, I don't want to say, thunder, if you want to say that. I've seen some opening series where Colby goes out there and just bombs the ball around the yard. It really wasn't that way, but Colby does what you're supposed to do. They take advantage of mistakes out there. So if you're going to walk them or hit them, they're going to get on base. They're going to steal their way to second. They're going to find a way to get to third. Anytime you have a pass ball or something like that, they're going to take advantage of that. And they did that to the best of their capabilities. And so give credit to Colby. They got themselves another good baseball team. They won 15 games last year. And I was visiting with one of their coaches pregame, and even though they graduated a good senior class, they still have some nice upperclassmen that they rally around, and they've got some good younger kids that are coming up that they really like, and everyone seems to gel and get together very well, and so they're going to have a lot of success there. I think there for Colby baseball, they really good. They got a couple of really good pitchers. of course, Braxton Withington, but not to mention Connor Surmeyer goes out there and strikes out 11 in his season opening start. He was very, very good. So Colby's got a lot going for them. They're going to have a great season. Goodland's going to be a team that's going to have to grow throughout the course of the season. They're a younger team that has a lot of young pieces that are going to have to learn to play at the high school level. And they're going to have to develop some arms throughout the course of the season. They're going to have to learn to get more aggressive at the plate if they're going to go out and score more runs. Definitely in game 2, they were better than they were in game 1, but they've got to find a way to score more runs because I think defensively they've got to get better too. Too many errors in the field and too many times where a pitcher had a chance to get out of a jam and just could not get it out because of an error or something along those lines. So, it was a tough opening series from the Goodland perspective, but once again, you got to keep in mind it's a very, very young baseball team with 6 freshmen and not a single senior on the roster. And so they've got a lot of growing to do over the course of this season, but Colby routed the Cowboys 25-1 in 4 innings in game number 1. And then game 2 went to 6 innings. Goodland got off to a better start, actually led early on, but Colby came back and won easily 16-4 in 6 innings. And the weather, of course, was your typical opening day weather. The day before it was, almost 90 degrees and no wind. And the day it's opening day, you've got 70-degree temps, but the wind blowing just straight in and at around 30 to 40 miles per hour, 25 to 35 miles per hour, just blowing straight in. And the typical opening day weather, it seems like, out here in Western Kansas. So we'll see how both teams do. They both are back in action here coming up on Tuesday. Goodland hosting Burlington and Colby taking on Decatur Community with their second series of the season. So, quick little look at baseball yesterday between Colby and Goodland. Once again, Colby's on their way to having another really good season. They got all the pieces to do that. While Goodland's got a lot of growing to do, and I think they're going to do that. I think they got the right man for the job. Is with Coach Avalar post game. He's got the right mindset and the right ideas to try and get this thing going in the right direction. It may not all happen in this season, but I think over the course of time, I think he's going to get things going in the right direction. All right, transitioning into some thoughts on the Sweet 16 that got going yesterday. There were 4 games, and of course, Arizona blew out Arkansas 109-88. That was probably the least entertaining game of them all, followed by Illinois-Houston, who Illinois just seemed to just kind of keep Houston an arm's length way, 65-55. Purdue needed everything they could do to beat Texas 79-77, had a tip in with less than a second remaining from Trey Kaufman-Wren. And then Iowa's magical season continues. They take down Nebraska 77-71 behind a great second half from the Iowa Hawkeyes. But, looking at these games yesterday, I mean, it just, I think once again, we're seeing, and I say this every year and we see it in the NCAA tournament, the first week of the tournament is so much fun because there can be some upsets and you do see some underdogs. But over the course of the tournament, you see the cream rise to the top. You see the better teams continue to go. Once again, you see Arizona just rout Arkansas last night. They just have everything you want. All the size, all the pieces, anything you could possibly want in a college basketball team. Arizona has it, and you're seeing it shine as they dominate Arkansas from the tip there yesterday in the West Region Sweet 16. Same thing for Illinois. I think they have everything that you want. They've got size and shooting, offensive acumen, and they're a really tough defensive team because Brad Underwood demands that out of them. And even though Houston is an elite defensive team, they really aren't an amazing offensive squad. They just usually outwork teams, and Illinois did not allow that to happen. I mean, it was only a 2-point game at half, but Illinois pulled away early in the second half and then ended up winning 65-55, ending Houston's season. That's a big-time win for Illinois because that was kind of like a road game. Houston was only playing a couple miles away from their campus and had a pretty good pro-Houston crowd, and Illinois took them out took the crowd out of them from the beginning, and they found a way to get it done in the end. And so Illinois on to the Elite Eight, as is Arizona. Texas gave Purdue all that they could possibly want. It was a close game throughout. Texas actually outscored Purdue in the second half, but a great play there almost at the buzzer in the final second by Trey Kaufman-Wren to get a tip in. He finished with 20 points and they had all 5 starters in double figures, did Purdue, including Fletcher Lawyer, who went out there and went 50% from 3, 4 of 8. And Purdue survives into the Elite 8, and their great postseason run continues. You know, they kind of stumbled at the end of the season, and they're putting it together here when it matters the most. And the same can be said, of course, for Iowa. Iowa stumbled down the home stretch of the regular season. Didn't even won a game in the Big Ten tournament, but then got eliminated from that, but have found their way here as they beat Nebraska 77-71. Lots of feelings about this game. I've told many people, being the Nebraska, first and foremost, I told many people that asked me about this game, being a Nebraska fan, I said, I hate this game for multiple reasons, but I hate this game because Nebraska has to play its rival, a rival that has owned them in pretty much every sport that they have played, minus maybe volleyball. And you have to play them in the most magical season that you've had, the best season you've ever had in men's basketball. And it's a game where the winner goes home. And I would have felt a whole lot better, and I've said this to many people, I don't care who thinks this, I would have felt a whole lot better if Nebraska would have played Florida. Because if they would have lost, if would have been like, well, they were the defending national champs and all that stuff. Instead, you got to say, well, you lost to your rival Iowa again, who's with a first-year head coach. None of the things add up great from a Nebraska fan's perspective in this loss. But give credit to Iowa. I think they have the best coach in college basketball. I got text message from our former co-host, Max Gershon, yesterday. He texted me, said, you were so right, Ross. A year ago when we visited about Ben McCollum being one of the best basketball coaches and will probably be playing in a Final Four sooner than people would realize. Guess what? Ben McCollum's a win away from making that happen just the year after I said it. Ben McCollum, and that's another thing that makes this hard about this Iowa game, because I love Ben McCollum, and I really like Bennett Sturtz, but I don't like Iowa. And so it is for me personally, it just pulls me in so many different directions. But in the basketball game itself, Nebraska came out and played great. I mean, the crowd was in it. They were looking great from what I've seen in the first half, looked really good, especially the first 10 minutes of the game. They had Iowa all out of sorts, but Iowa got recomposed, and Iowa surged back and only trailed by 3 at halftime in a first half that was definitely Nebraska style. The problem is the second half was played Iowa's way. More slower paced, lesser possessions, and which means lesser points, and Iowa made shots and Nebraska didn't. As I said a few minutes ago with Raleigh, you got to make shots and you have to get stops, and Nebraska didn't do it and Iowa did. And that was the difference, I think, in that game. Yes, everyone wants to talk about the guy, 4 guys or 4 players on the floor, and yeah, that's a bad look. You were still down 3. It was still Iowa's ball. Who knows what happened? Maybe you get a stop. Maybe you don't. You don't know what happens there. Definitely not a great look at all. But give credit to Iowa. They are playing with a lot of confidence. And Coach Ben McCollum is a fantastic basketball coach. I hope to God he goes to North Carolina. I hope he goes there. I told my wife that last night. I said, I hope he gets the North Carolina job. I just want to see him go somewhere else where Nebraska doesn't have to face him unless it's in the postseason. Because I think he's going to win a lot of basketball games. The guy is really, really good. But Bennett Sturtz, who had been kind of cold going into this game, goes off for 20 points. You knew he was going to get going. And then off the bench, I mean, they had 6 3-point, and that was another big thing. They had a total of, what was that off the bench? That's 38 points off the bench. That's phenomenal. And Nebraska, Nebraska plays this defense, and I've gotten to understand a little bit more here. This defense where they double everything that comes into the paint. So if you try to drive and get into the paint, Nebraska is going to put 2 defenders on you to stop that and force you to kick it out. And you know what? I think that defense has worked. It worked pretty darn good for Nebraska for about half to 3/4 of the season. Nebraska needs to have a change-up, though, when you get to this point in time of the season. You want to know why? Because teams at this level make 3-pointers. I don't understand, in an era where 3-point shooting is such a big deal, that Nebraska leaves so many guys open for 3-pointers. That's what frustrates me probably the most about the defense. You double in the post, They kick out. A guy's wide open for a three. Guess what? They make it. Iowa goes 13 of 30 for 40. You're playing with fire in an era where a lot of guys make three-pointers. Even the bigs do. And I think there has to be a tweak there to where, you know what? We're going to help in the post, but we're not going to give that much help because teams are taking advantage of it and burying threes. And if you don't match on the other end, which Nebraska did not in the second half, they were hot in the first, did not in the second. That's not going to help. And Nebraska had way too many turnovers for their liking. Had a total of 10, which didn't result in many points off turnovers. And Iowa did do a great job of protecting the basketball, only 5 turnovers. That's once again credit to Bennett Sturts. He's an amazing player. But that's the angering part of the whole ordeal. From just the fan perspective, is that guy, you had a chance to win this game. You could have beaten Iowa. We've beat him once this year. But you didn't get done, and then your season is ended by your rival in what was the most magical season. It's all angering. I get that. But at the same time, it's also an amazing season for Nebraska basketball. Expectations this year, I think, from the fans were, boy, can we just get the NCAA tournament and win a game? I think that's what everybody wanted. That was the bare minimum that they wanted. And when they got that done, it was complete jubilation. It was awesome. And then to go to to make it to the Sweet 16 was even more amazing. To not only get their first tournament win, but to win 2 in that tournament, I think is amazing. The only sour part is the fact you had to have your season ended at the hand of your rivals. And that's a very, very tough pill to swallow. Tough pill to swallow. Nonetheless, 77-71, Iowa advancing into the Elite Eight. They will take on Illinois, and then it is going to be Purdue, Arizona in the other Elite Eight matchup. Real quickly, before we get to break, I wanted to play, I was talking about Ben McCollum and how much I just absolutely love him as a coach. I've always thought a guy who can win at the lower levels, at the level that he did, once again, 4 national championships at Division II level, you can win anywhere. And he's proved it. He's gone from Northwest Missouri State quickly up to Drake, where they won 30-plus games, got a first-round tournament win, and now he's got Iowa in his very first year in the Elite Eight. He is an amazing basketball coach. Iowa has got a great coach. But another reason I like Ben McCollum is I think he's got a great perspective on a lot of things. And this is what he had to say post-game after beating Nebraska. I thought this was very impressive and well said.
Fantastic to start. They had an elite game plan to start. They played with elite pace. They adjusted their defense quite a bit. I think a lot of people will talk about a rivalry. I was around it when I was in Iowa, and grew up in Iowa and understand the rivalry and whatnot. It's nice to have, I guess, if you would call it a rival, that runs such a class program. I think Coach Hoiberg, they've got great kids. They completely turned everything around from the previous season, and they have absolutely nothing to hang their heads about or anything. I have the utmost respect for them, all of their players, and especially Coach Hoiberg. Heck of a season. I know it's no consolation, but we still want to beat them every time, and they want to beat us every time. But, from an internal perspective, there's not a lot of bad blood there. It's actually a lot of respect.
That, once again, was Brad Underwood with his comments there post-game, which I thought were great. I thought they were great. All class from Ben McCollum. But once again, it stings this morning to have Nebraska's basketball season end at the hands of their rivals. But what a great season it was, and nothing to be ashamed of. And Nebraska got more out of a roster that was I saw was official. It was the lowest paid roster of the entire Sweet 16, I think, $4.5 million. Definitely, if not the lowest, it was one of the 2 lowest. Iowa might have the other one. But definitely one of the lowest paid rosters in all of college basketball makes it to the Sweet 16. It wasn't a team that had a lot of great, what's the word I'm looking for here? Great, athletic talent. But they got the most out of it because they were so unified and played the right way. But the season comes to an end in the Sweet 16 for Nebraska. And we'll see if Iowa can push it to the Final Four. And Ben McCollum playing in a Final Four a year after I thought he'd be playing for one pretty quickly. And he is definitely doing that. There you go. 4 more games today. Real quickly, 4 more games today. You've got St. John's, Duke, Alabama, Michigan, Michigan State, UConn, Tennessee, Iowa State are the games on tap for tonight in this game. Going to the text line, Brian saying rebound. Yeah, and that's been an issue all season long. That's what happens when you don't have any dudes. You gotta have dudes and some real athletic freaks to get out and rebound. Nebraska does not have any of those. And an absolute Ben McCollum, absolute stud from Ben. Yes, he is an absolute stud. He's an amazing coach. Like I said, if Iowa can hold on to him, it's going to be a lot of headaches for teams in the Big Ten. Or if he can go someplace a lot bigger and continue to win. He is an unbelievable basketball coach. All right, 7:33 Mountain Time. We'll take a break. When we come back, Dan Lucero's supposed to join us. We'll hopefully have him join us next. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on a Friday.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They even have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, Jared Law with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas, with your morning market update. It's Friday, March 27th in the overnight session. May corn up 2 at 469. July up 1.5, 479.5. September up 1.5 at 482. December up 1.25 at 495 3/4. Soybeans on the May up half a cent, 11.74 1/4. July up a penny at 11.90.5. November up 3.5, 11.56 1/4. KC wheat on the May at 4.5, 6.31 1/4. July at 4.5 at 6.45 3/4. September up 4 3/4 at 6.59 3/4. December up 4 at 6.77 1/4. Chicago wheat up 2.5, 6.07 1/2. Feeder cattle finished 363.52 1/2. Live cattle 235.10. Lean hogs 90.82 1/2. Crude oil futures up 2.37 a barrel at 96.85. Gold futures up 54.10 at 4,430.40. Silver up 37 cents at 68.07. U.S. dollar index up 18 at 99.89. Dow futures down 287 at 45,944. S&P futures down 39 at 6,486. Can you move any cash for you? I want to talk about risk management. Reach out to myself, Jared Law, Tom Sluter, Tyler Gush, 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, you can reach out to John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
In today's market, open cows cost you real money. More calves on the ground means more dollars back in your pocket. Flaxseed tubs from SmartLick Supplements improve conception rates and shorten your breeding window, so more cows breed back faster. Flaxlick delivers omega-3 fatty acids to support fertility and increase pregnancy rates. Better conception, more calves, better profits. Go to smartlick.com, that's smartlic.com, to find your nearest Flaxlick dealer.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
From the headlines to the highlights.
It's good! The Wildcats are champions of the Big 12!
This is the Morning Blitz.
It is 7:37 the Mountain Time Zone, 8:37 Central Time on this Friday. Once again, 31 degrees and overcast outside. Going to be a much cooler day. Temps in the low 50s. Not exactly the most beautiful weather for opening day baseball, but luckily the Royals and the Rockies are on the road to open up the season. On the road over on the East Coast. We're pleased to welcome in our good friend from WIBW Sports, joining us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. That would be our good friend Dan Lucero. Dan, good morning, buddy. How we doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing fine. Can we call you Rubber Arm Dan Lucero from your time pitching over in Colorado? Yeah, how's that feeling over there?
That's my kid carrying arm, so I don't know that I got as much juice in the shoulder as I used to, but I might have more velocity. It might actually be helping me. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. What was your best outing as a high school pitcher?
Best outing? I had some good ones. I had my senior year. I threw a 2-hit shutout against Mullen High School there in the big Catholic school there in Denver. Threw a 2-hitter and we 10-runned them. That was probably my best.
Way to go. How many Ks in that?
4 or 5. I wasn't a big strikeout guy. You can believe
Pitch to
that.
contact?
Yeah. I wanted to get my I wanted to get my defenders involved, mostly my outfielders. I was a fly ball pitcher. Not a way to succeed in the thin air. But
yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
He was hoping for some big ballparks.
Clean living and a fast outfield, the keys to my success.
Dan Lucero, our guest here on the Morning Blitz. Dan, opening day for baseball yesterday, and we're going to see the Royals and Rockies take the field. Hey, I saw a lot of people talking about how they're seeing a WBC kind of hangover from some guys, Paul Skeens, Logan Webb, that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts on the WBC hangover chit chat?
Well, my thought is that if Paul Skeens had a major league center fielder behind him yesterday, we wouldn't be talking about him only lasting 2/3 of an inning. That was a bad defensive season that O'Neal Cruz had in the first inning for the Pirates out there in center field. Made me immediately regret picking them to go to the playoffs. They might have the worst outfield defense in baseball if they're going to run that guy out there in center field. I don't know what to make of it. It's different for everybody, and I'm sure there will be. I seem to remember about 3 years ago, if there were guys who were affected, it was pitchers, because you do get out of your routine a little bit as far as preparing for the season, and maybe you kind of have to rush into it a little bit as you get back to your team's camp before the games start to matter. We'll keep an eye on that with Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, both of whom started for the Royals in their exhibition games in Texas, and they were okay. Wacha was fine. Lugo had some command issues early, but came back after that and was all right. So we'll see. It might have just been Logan Webb faced a really good lineup, and Paul Skeens, as center fielder, should have been wearing a dunce cap, and we're making too much out of those things, and maybe overstating a WBC hangover there.
We've chatted about the Rockies a little bit prior in your styles. We haven't touched a ton on the Royals. The Royals had a great WBC when you talk about production from like Vinny Pasquantino and, of course, Michael Garcia and all that stuff. And they had a great showing for the WBC. Do you think that transitions here in the early part of the season for Kansas City?
I think it certainly can. I think that it's not just the confidence from a good performance in a, as close to a best on best worldwide baseball tournament as we get. I think it's also the vibes, for lack of a better way to put it. Should just be immaculate in that clubhouse. Like this is a young core now. I mean, we think about Salvador Perez as the captain, but this team is really starting to gel around a young core of players. Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino's the old guy, and he's 28. Jack Caglione, Michael Garcia. Those are going to be sort of your young guys who really lift this team and really sort of form the personality of the team. And all of them had very notable World Baseball Classic performances and were team leaders. And I think that assuming that leadership role, and with Garcia able to come back feeling like, hey, Garcia might have been one of the most underrated players across all of baseball last year. I don't think people realize outside of the Royals just how good he was. Well, now he's the best player in the World Baseball Classic. He wins the MVP for the World Champions, and that confidence can carry over. I think Vinny Pasquantino and Jack Caglione having good series or good World Baseball Classic experience with Italy can carry over. I think America's shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr., I don't think he lacks for confidence, but I think that can carry over a little bit as well. I do think that it's not just the confidence earned by a good performance in this tournament, but it is the good feeling. Like those guys have to feel like they
feel like we might have lost Dan Lucero there for a second. I don't know what happened there. Dan was going along just fine. Oh, wait, sorry, Dan, you back? Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
You froze up. I'm sorry, buddy.
Oh dear. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. No, you're exactly right. Dude, I don't know. I felt like Kansas City, they didn't make like a ton of moves in the offseason, but they went out and added just a few small pieces. How much do you think these few small additions can really add to the success?
I think they will be helpful. I think that Matt Strom and Alec Lang add some quality bullpen depth, some guys who can miss some bats. But the Royals bullpen really struggled to do last year, which is weird because they had a bunch of power arms. They should have been better at missing bats than they were. But I think that Matt Strom and Alec Lang will help in that regard. I think that the addition of Isaac Collins gives them a guy with some good on-base skill, which is something the Royals have not always prioritized for their lineup. But he's somebody who put up an OBP in the 360s as a rookie in Milwaukee, and I think that's going to help in the outfield mix. I think Lane Thomas is a sneaky, excellent addition as a right-handed bat who can do some damage against lefties and play a credible center field, and that's going to juice the production at that position because Kyle Isbell, good defender, better defender than Thomas, cannot hit lefties. Can't really hit righties either, but definitely can't hit lefties. So now you give yourself a chance to have a platoon, a straight platoon out there in center field that's going to be more productive over the course of 162 games offensively while still being able to benefit, late in games. You can get Isbell's defense out there if you feel like he's the better defender. Starling Marte, another right-handed bat that's going to help protect left-handers like Caglione, like Carter Jensen, like Vinny Pasquantino. You have to give those guys fewer at bats against the tougher lefties because of guys like Thomas and guys like Marte on the roster. I think what they've done, they have not raised the ceiling of this team. And that's the one concern is that they didn't go out this offseason and add a ceiling raiser in the way that like Detroit did when they signed Framber Valdez to go with Tarek Skubal at the top of their rotation. But they've raised the floor. The big problem the Royals have had the last couple of years on offense is that outside of their star level players, they have given a lot of at-bats to guys who can't do anything offensively. Ideally, you've got much better floor with your offense, so your at-bats are going to guys who are going to still help you. Even if they're not well above average hitters, they're not going to be well below average the way guys who've taken a lot of at-bats the last couple of years have been.
Dan Lucero is our guest, joining us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. He joins us, of course, host from WIBW Sports and a former co-host here on the Morning Blitz. You were talking about the Royals here and their great season, but you talk about the Central. You mentioned the Tigers. Is the Central open for business, or is it are the Tigers still the team to beat? How do you read the Central Division in the American League?
It's a match race. It's two teams, Detroit and Kansas City, and then it's everybody else. Cleveland is in they're in a strange spot, right, where they really didn't do anything to add to the roster, and they can look at last year and say, well, hey, we won this division with this group of guys. They got really hot in September. They won a bunch of games 2-1. Their starting pitching rotation pitched like four Bob Gibsons down the stretch. It was incredible. I don't think that's a replicable formula for them, to be frank. I don't really think that Cleveland is good enough offensively to sustain a dip in how good their starting pitching was in September, and there will be a dip. So I don't really think Cleveland is a serious contender. Minnesota traded half their roster at the deadline last year. They're super young. I don't take them very seriously. I think they could be pretty bad. And the White Sox are still probably a year, maybe two away. They've gotten younger. They're in that part of the rebuild where they're starting to give some of their prospects some the chance to win those big league jobs, guys like Colson Montgomery and Kyle Teal, and Murakami, the big slugging Japanese third baseman, is an interesting addition for them, but I still think they're probably about a year away from really being a factor in the race. So it's Kansas City and it's Detroit, and I think those two are going to have quite a race to see who wins the Central, and I think the team that loses out is going to snag a wild card.
Has any thoughts changed on the Rockies through spring training for you, or do you still stand where you stand?
Well, they're not going to be good, right? Like let's start there with the Rockies. That is not a very good 26-man roster, right? You don't look at that and think, oh yeah, this is a group of guys that's going to win a ton of baseball games. This group is oozing with talent. No, they're not a very talented roster, and on paper it looks like about 100 loss roster. So they're not going to be good, but they're going to go about getting their results, whatever they may be, in a different way. It wasn't just that the Rockies did not have a talented roster last year. It was that many times their hitters did not look as though they had ever seen a breaking ball before. It was that the pitching staff repeatedly threw fastballs to the same part of the strike zone over and over again without any change, without any deviation in plan. Well, things are going to be different this year. They've got some smart people pushing the buttons. They've got an analytically minded manager in Warren Schaefer and a coaching staff around him that is much more 21st century than what the Rockies have had and operated with certainly the last handful of years. So there will be some things on the margins that the Rockies probably do a lot better. And there should be some improvements from guys who've been with the big league club the last couple of years and maybe have a chance to broaden their pitch mix, for instance, or to be more selective at the plate and do more damage on the pitches they can actually hit rather than just getting up there and flailing about. Ezequiel Tovar is a guy who had a good World Baseball Classic for Venezuela and comes back as a Rocky shortstop and I think is primed to bust out this year. So will they be better? Can't be worse. I mean, they lost 119 games. It's almost impossibly worse than that. Will they be good? Absolutely not. They will be about as far from good as it is possible to be. They will be one of the 3 worst teams in Major League Baseball this year. Will it be different? Yes. And that is what's going to make them interesting, even in their likely futility, to see how they go about attacking games, how their pitchers go about attacking hitters, how their hitters go about attacking pitchers, and most importantly of all, that they transition away from being afraid of Coors Field, which they have been as an organization really since 2019. They stopped treating it like an advantage and they started treating it like it was something to be afraid of. They want to start treating it like it's an advantage again. And that's what I'm most interested to see develop this year. It's not going to show up in the standings yet, but on a granular day-to-day, game-to-game basis, they're going to be an interesting team to follow.
Well, you have to. I just always thought, like, well, at least in the offseason, the Rockies showed a pulse. By doing some things in the front office, they showed a pulse, because the previous couple of years, they were completely dead. There was nothing going on. They were not adding anything. They were just sitting there and doing nothing. At least they showed a pulse.
Yes. I think that the transparency and the honesty of Paul DePodesta, who's in charge of the whole operation, and Josh Burns as the general manager, has been a really encouraging sign. This is a franchise that was so light years behind the rest of baseball when it pertained to how they operated, how their front office operated, how they treated data and sabermetrics. And now they are moving into the 21st century. Now, the problem is when you're behind, you kind of stay behind. You got a lot of catch up to play, and it's not going to happen overnight. But one of the most encouraging things I saw recently was that they are actually hiring more data scientists to work in that front office and paying them competitive wages. I remember one time seeing a post on Fangraphs. They post a lot of major league jobs, and it was an work as a data analyst in the Rockies organization. They were going to pay him $15 an hour plus tips. It was something ridiculous. They did not take that part of the game seriously. They were very insular and they were very antiquated, and not being those two things is such a step in a positive direction. Again, it is not going to happen overnight, but the Rockies feel now more like a real live 21st century baseball operation than they have felt probably in the entire 21st century. And that is a step in the right direction. That is something for Rockies fans to feel good about.
Dan Lucero continues to be our guest here on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. A couple more quotes before we let you go. Is there any team that can hang with the Dodgers this year or give them a run for their money?
Sure. I actually think the Dodgers may wear down as this season goes on. They got a pretty old position player core when you look at it. Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Mookie Betts. These are great players. Freeman and Betts are ticketed for Cooperstown, but this is an older core of players, and I will be interested to see how they hold up over the grind of 162 and into October, going for a third straight World Series title. That's not the smart money. That hasn't happened very often in modern baseball history. I think there are some teams that are capable of challenging them. I think the Mets might be the most improved team in all of baseball. I love the addition of Bo Bichette and Freddie Peralta. Obviously, they've got Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor, speaking of future Hall of Famers. I really like that Mets team. I'm actually picking them to win the National League this year. I really like that team. I like their young pitching. Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong's going to get called up and do some things that are really good for them, I think, on the mound this year. I really like that Mets team quite a bit. Over in the American League, it's kind of a toss-up. I think you could feel good about the Mariners. They might have the best roster. The problem with the Mariners is they are the Seattle Mariners, historically allergic to winning, and I'll believe they can win something when I see it. The Yankees had the best offense in baseball last year. They'll get Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon back at some point this summer. They will be quite good. We've talked about Detroit and Kansas City. I think those are both playoff teams with the upper 80 win potential, maybe more if they get some young bats to bust out. The team I'm actually picking in the American League is Baltimore. I think they're going to bounce back from a last place finish last year. They built a real pitching staff this year instead of saying, like last year, they were like, yeah, pitching doesn't matter. And then they found out very quickly that it does. So they went out and got some real live starting pitchers, Trevor Rogers, Chris Bassett, Shane Baz, to go along with the returning Kyle Bradish. And they've got that young lineup with so much potential still. Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman and Jackson Holiday will come back from injury and I think improve. I think I'm buying the dip on the O's. I think they bounce back, win the East, and win the American League pennant this year.
He is Dan Lucero, our good friend from WIBW Sports. Dan, thank you so much again for your time this morning. It's always great to catch up. Say hello to the family, and we'll talk down the road.
You do the same, Ross, and happy opening day Boxing Day. Yesterday was opening day. The day before was opening day Eve. This is opening day Boxing Day for the Royals and the Rockies. I think there's one other game that two teams haven't played yet. So happy opening day to one and all, and I hope we have some good baseball to talk about later on down the road this season, Ross.
You and me too, buddy. We'll see it. Be well.
You too.
Once again, great stuff there from Dan Lucero, our great friend from WIBW Sports Talk 580 over there in Topeka. He does a great job with that. Let's take our final break, come back and wrap up the show with some quick other baseball news and notes and get to the walk-off. That's all next here on the Morning Blitz.
That actually puts you first. At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Craving something delicious? McDonald's has you covered. From hot, fresh breakfast to juicy burgers and crispy fries, there's something for everyone, any time of day. And don't forget to try our classic McCafe coffee or refreshing McFlurry. Visit us in Colby, Goodland, Burlington, and Lamar for fast, friendly service and the flavors you love. Drive through, dine in, or order ahead on the McDonald's app. We'll have it fresh and ready. McDonald's. I'm loving it.
H&R Block has many options to make filing your taxes easy. Our tax pros can help you get your max refund with or without the office visit. Drop in, drop off, or a tax pro can even do your taxes virtually. Send some pics from your phone without leaving home. Just another way Block has your back.
All tax situations are different. Not everyone gets a refund.
Hi, this is Ashley from your locally owned H&R Block. We'll get you every dollar you deserve with or without the office visit.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
Quick hits, bold takes, and all the action.
I'll take that action.
Welcome back to the Morning Blitz.
All right, just a couple minutes left to go on our show. Thanks to Dan Lucero for joining us and giving us some good stuff on opening day, Boxing Day, as you've dubbed it. So, Colby Community College baseball, shout out to them, got their first Jayhawk Conference win of the season when it comes to just playing against conference foes. They swept Barton yesterday in only the way that Colby could win, it seems like, this year in high-scoring affairs. They scored 5 in the bottom of the 9th, and then walked it off in the 10th in Game 1, 18-17, and then jumped out early and held on to a 15-12 win in Game 2. Trojans up to 9-19 overall, but now 2-12 in league plays. They finally get those first conference series wins. They will play at Barton here for Games 3 and 4 on Saturday. Colby High School softball team on the diamond today. They have a doubleheader at Lakin to open up their season. Forties Tech Northwest softball will play on Saturday at home at the Tiger Softball Complex. They will host Butler for a doubleheader that day. And, of course, opening day today for the Royals and the Rockies. As previously mentioned, Colorado at Miami taking on the Marlins, while Kansas City visits Atlanta and the Braves. You can listen to the Royals baseball season all year long on AM 790 KXXX. Only 10 games this year will be televised for free that you can watch. And so you can listen to the rest of those games, though, on AM 790 KXXX. And once again, they take on the Braves, who I think kind of battered, especially in the pitching department with injuries this year. And, of course, there is some college baseball this weekend. Excuse me. You've got K-State going to Utah in their brand new baseball stadium there in Salt Lake. KU at number 25 ranked Cincinnati, and Nebraska playing host to Indiana for some college baseball this weekend. Quickly to add a few more picks, went to made some picks in the Sweet 16. I went 3-2 yesterday. I had the Illinois victory, had the over on the Nebraska-Iowa game, but I lost that I thought Nebraska would win. I picked Arizona to cover the 7.5, and then lost on the Texas-Purdue, with Purdue covering the 7.5. So we'll see what happens with the rest of those 4 games today. I also decided to pick Colorado versus Miami and Royals versus the Braves today. The over-under for both games today on opening day for those two teams is 7.5. I'm going to take the over for Colorado-Miami, but the under for the Royals and the Braves. And I've got Kansas State taking the series at Utah, Kansas losing the series at Cincinnati, Nebraska winning the home series against Indiana, the other picks of the weekend. All right, let's get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball high, deep to right. How about a walk-off three? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Once again, not much else to get to as I continue to cough up stuff. I apologize. Again, hopefully by Monday I will be sounding better. But we'll see. Tell you, riding this roller coaster of weather, hot to cold, definitely is not easy to navigate. That is for sure. But once again, don't forget to listen to Royals Baseball, AM 790 KXXX, as they take on the Braves here tonight. And apologies, we will not be having any of the Rockies baseball this season, unfortunately, due to the loss of AM 730 KLOE. Michael on the EpiBank text line says, watch out for the Red Sox. They're going to take the East, he says. I'm not surprised. Actually, I kind of picked the Red Sox to have a great year, Michael, so I'm not surprised. I think it'd be great to see them. I love Fenway Park. Huge fan of that. So, and Clayton Jacobs says, go Hawks. All right, Clayton. You definitely get it done. Nebraska, no doubt. I got to take that one. So, and yes, Coach Raymer, I see you texting me all about that you went with Nebraska and they bit you in the butt. So I see it all. I see it all. Put it all on me. Put it all on my shoulders. I'll take the blame today. Great season, Nebraska. It's all right. It was a great season. Hopefully one day, who knows? I may be dead, but one day we'll get those Hawkeyes. Okay, we'll see you here again on Monday. Have a great weekend. Been the Blitz.
Rocket 102.5.